Okay, and I think we're good to go. Okay, let me.
Oh, for this intro, we should be sounding like we're in the middle of a battle. So
yeah, I got it. I got it. Okay, whenever you want to start.
Okay.
Peterson, are you ready to record the podcast? Peterson, you copy?
Katie, I copy. The podcast is a go. I repeat, the podcast is a go.
Roger that. We've got the green light, people. It's showtime.
Ready to commence podcasting any July evening in Utah in 3, 2, 1.
You just looked into the 3-Bit Gamer Show.
Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
And I'm also Sarge, because that's what I default to, I guess.
Sarge, listen, I did appreciate the own sound effects we did for our own voices.
Yes.
Just cover our mouth a little bit. We're talking in a radio in World War II.
That's my default, though.
Yeah.
Look, I'm NCO. It's written all over me. That's what I am. That's as high as I climb.
Honestly, all you have to do is wear that American flag tank top you have on, and I'm like, obviously, I need to follow this guy into battle.
Platoon leader, here I go. Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, the news this week is brought to us, like every single week, by Crave Cookies. Crave Cookies is this amazing cookie shop. You can go to cravecookies.com and see, you know what? I always tell people to do that, but I have not visited Crave recently to see how their locations look. Let's see. Where are all
You mean like visit the website?
Yeah, I know the website looks great, but I didn't. Oh my gosh, Trent has FAQs. Can I freeze my cookies? Oh my gosh, you can. Trent has instructions on how to freeze his cookies. Why can't I find their locations?
Well, you're not very good at the internet.
Can you find them?
Trent,
you got to change your website.
Dude, where's your locations at, my boy?
Frog. The best part about being sponsored by Crave Cookies is that we also get to beta test Trent's website.
Yeah, that's true. Live beta tests. I'm sure he appreciates it.
He's a big fan. So if you guys get on to cravecookies.com, you will see the current cookie menu for this week. However, coming up this weekend, I guess like starting on Friday, is a new menu, and we're about to spoil that for you. We've got the Fluffer Nutter Butter.
Okay.
Yummy.
That's a popular one.
Oh, it's so good. And I don't like peanut butter cookies, and that one slaps. The white caramel macadamia nut, the stuffed cookies and cream, and the brookie and the banana cream pie.
Okay, solid lineup.
But hurry on down because they have the chocolate cupcake now, which is new. So yeah, get on down to Crave Cookies and get your cookie on. Only 13% of video games released before 2010 are available on modern platforms, according to a recent study.
The heck?
This is my thing. This is my drum that I constantly beat. This is from a Zenado. Zenado is the Xenodo Zombocom. Anyway, so this study found that basically every console before the Xbox 360, PS3, Wii generation, it's just like you can't get any of those games. Like all of those games, 13% of them you have access to, and you got to imagine a lot of those are, you're thinking the Genesis collection pack that you can get that has 50 Genesis games all on a single disc. That's got to be like 4% of it. Like that type of those numbers, I'm sure are. It sounds, you're like, 13% is not bad. I think it's worse than that makes it seem.
Yeah, I mean, also there's it just make if you really think about it, there was loads of Genesis games and Super Nintendo games,
Yeah.
and because I remember going to the video game rental store on Friday night, and we would just sit there and wander and look at stuff forever. So there
Yeah.
was aisles and aisles of it. So yeah, I mean
Nope.
that doesn't surprise me, but it is kind of sad, I guess.
And I kind of touched on this, I think, recently on another podcast where I was discussing the fact that there are so many games that were like released and published by studios that don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
And ownership rights for a lot of those may be just really nebulous. Like, who knows?
just out there.
They're
I mean,
just-
maybe Sega owns it, and like Sega, they focus on their big properties, right? They're
Yeah.
not just like releasing everything.
But this is all a worse stat even is that the reissue rate drops below 3% for games released before 1985, which is, a pretty important era of gaming is the early 80s. And 3% of those games are available. I don't know. This is a bummer. But
I mean, it is, but also at the same time, like a lot of those games were pretty rough, even back then. And then you go and play them now, and like they're not even.
you
worth
don't
booting
record
up.
history because it's boring or not good.
How much percent of world history do you think is recorded, JD?
Like so little of it, and most of it's bullshit because so much of it is just made from very fallible human memories, years, decades, or hundreds of years after the fact.
Mhm.
So history's kind of like just made up, but here is an example where we could try our best and we're just phoning it in. This is just another public service announcement from me. Never throw away a game. Sell it or find somewhere a secondary owner, but like these types of things just preserve as much as we can because I think it's slipping through our fingers. A gamer rager who harassed Bungie employees was ordered by a Washington state judge to pay $500,000 fees. I bet anyone that has so much free time to like dox and harass individual employees at a video game company of a video game you're, I guess, fond of. I bet
Yeah.
he has $500,000.
Oh, he's
It's like-
swimming in it.
Successful dude. This is Jesse James Comer. I gotta wonder with the psychology that goes into naming your kid Jesse James.
They had to know, right?
You knew,
I mean,
right?
some people are really stupid, but
It's like naming your kid Al Capone Johnson. You're like, come on. Well, his full name is Albert. I'm like,
you knew
why are
what you
doing
were doing.
this? Why are you doing this?
Either that or you're really dumb.
He was doxing and harassing a Bungie community manager, and he was found liable for almost $500,000 in damages and fees. What's more, and the lawyers that are listening, I'm sure we have a very deep contingent.
There's a pile of lawyers just with their notepads out, ready to go.
Dude, have you ever seen a lawyer without a notepad?
Dude, never.
Always yellow, always ready to go. They're like, it says it on the label. It's a legal pad.
They don't call it that for nothing, okay?
What are you, stupid? You guys might understand this more. Maybe you can come in and correct me because I'm saying it wrong. But this is what I saw on Twitter from a legal aid or someone that was working on the case. The court held that it would recognize a new tort based on the Washington criminal statutes outlawing cyber and telephone harassment, which means the court has created a path for those with the resources to identify stochastic terrorists and hold them accountable to do exactly that and recover their costs in court. So basically, I think they're saying this sets a precedent where if you swat like anybody or you dox or harass somebody that works at a game company in Washington state, dude, you're just auto fucked.
Yeah.
Like, do not pass go. Do not go to court. Just get fucked in the ass for $500,000.
I'm in for it. I mean, that behavior is
Yeah.
just garbage human behavior anyway. So
If you take it to this level, I don't know. This is like, I feel like raging and trying to DDoS and hack in games you're playing, multiplayer games, I feel like that is beyond the pale. So whatever the fuck this is like indefinable, indescribable to me. But you're right. Just throw them out. Just fucking throw them out. $500,000. You just have liens on your paycheck for the rest of your life. Throw them in the garbage. Little Caesars isn't going to care.
I would also be an advocate for, like, I don't know, cutting off their fingertips just so they had a harder time playing video games, you know?
Dude, I like that medieval focused type of punishments, right?
Yeah.
Like you're a rapist, you get your dick cut off.
Yeah.
Like solve the problem. Let's address it at its root.
You're a video game rager. Well, yeah. I mean, keyboard warrior. Hey, you want to be racist online? Dude, have fun playing games without fingertips.
Dude, well, it depends because we ask if you play on console or PC, and if you play on PC, we take your left 4.
Yeah.
And if you play on console, we take your 2 thumb tips.
Good luck. Good luck playing.
You're going
without
nowhere
those thumbs.
without those thumb tips.
Your mom's gonna be so happy that you can't play video games anymore in her basement. We're doing her a favor, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Go get a job, Grouch. Blizzard nerfed everyone in Diablo 4, then quickly reversed the decision when everyone freaked out.
Yeah.
I didn't really get this because I'm not playing Diablo 4, but from what I understand, they made characters weaker, specific characters, and a lot of people chose these characters. They made cooldowns on abilities, powerful abilities, longer, which everyone wants to wait longer to do the things in the game that they want to do. And then they made some of these dungeons, from what I was reading, impossibly hard. Like World of Warcraft 1.0 hard, where you're just like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sit here and grind. Like, I guess we could theoretically do it, but I'm not going to grind for the loot required to do this level 100 dungeon for 2 weeks. What's the payout? And this is their 1.1 patch. This is Diablo 4 1.1.0. This is how they come out of the gate, man. Swinging at the heads of their players.
Yeah, it is a funny thing too, because this isn't an online game, right? And of course they want to make it challenging and stuff, but they
forced online all the time, but
but you know what I'm saying. Like, this isn't like a competitive. You're not competing against players online. You're with them, right? So
there's a big PvP aspect, though. I think that they want to be pushing. I think that's the push on this, is to get people in on the loop longer and then grinding for loot to beat each other up with longer and harder.
Yeah. You might be right. That seems like the worst version of Diablo to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not the core audience for Diablo. Obviously, I'm not even playing it. Like, if I had the game, I'd play it, but I don't want to buy it. Right? I don't want to
$70.
I don't want to do that.
I don't know. It's like you said, it is designed to be potentially consumed as a single player game, right? Like Diablo 3, you could beat that single player and it wouldn't feel like, you'd be like, it'd be cool if I had people, but like, it's not like
it doesn't matter.
What if I was playing Zelda? What if I was fucking playing Zelda and all of a sudden I picked it up one day and there was like a new update and all of a sudden the Master Sword did half the damage it did before,
and it broke so fast?
Serious? I would be apoplectic. I would be beyond angry. I would just not be able to fucking handle myself because I would be so mad that Nintendo's like, oh, your single player experience that we designed one way, we've just randomly decided is bad. We're going to do it. We're going to fix it.
And the problem with these Diablo type games, right, is there's a bunch of characters and there's a bunch of weapons and there's a bunch of ways you can build that character. There's always going to be an OP way to do it. I remember playing a barbarian in Diablo 3 and my character was so OP, I would fall asleep while playing because it was so zero skill required. I would literally be playing with Spencer and I would just doze off. And I'd wake up and I'd be fine. My guy was so good.
You got a higher DPS than Spencer. And he's like, what are you doing?
Like my guy just had no problems just killing thousands of whatevers. And so that's like kind of, it gets a little OP, but you're going to find the OP build no matter what they do. And so they're always trying to like tweak it right? It's like the card games. They're trying to tweak everyone's OP build to make it a little better. It doesn't matter. Whatever you do, there's someone's going to find the OP build. So, and you have to do with these games, you have to do little tweaks, tiny little tweaks. Let's test it out. Test
Maybe
out a
your
little bit of
very
nerf.
First tweak, keep it real small.
Oh,
but-
absolutely. It's got to be so small. Like you're changing cooldowns by like 0.25 seconds at a
I
time.
don't know, dude. 1.1 doesn't feel like you've had enough player data to make those calls at all. It seems to me like 1.1 should be bug fixed.
They started programming those right away. It feels
Yeah,
like
without even listening to the
they were
the
just
player
like,
base, because
yeah,
they
this
had
is too
these
much.
ready to go, and so they reversed this all. And from what I understand, they're like, "Oops, we fucked up. Like we've ruined the experience for a lot of people." The Blizzard community chief said it'll never happen again. Basically, just outright, just like
They just say stuff. We know that Blizzard just says stuff.
they just say stuff and then they go do the exact fucking same thing again. So
Give them a year, they're gonna just like, oh, season 2, then they're just gonna like mess all the characters up. And
dude, they're on the Diablo 3 like life cycle, the same track where they come out of the gate like kind of strong and then they start fucking up really quickly. They're like, here's this new thing, or here's this thing we thought you'd love, and everyone's like, we don't love this.
nope, that's not it.
And then they spend another 2 years like unfucking all of the things they did wrong. And by the end of it, like with Diablo 3, you had a pretty good game.
Like 3 years later, you're like, well, this game has a lot of content. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a minute to get there.
We're gonna have to suffer. People are gonna have to suffer through Blizzard's just like fumbling around and trying to find where the game should be, even though they released it sounds like a pretty dope game to begin with.
It seems to be doing really well. I
And,
haven't heard anyone majorly complain about it. You know what I
No.
mean?
Now, everyone I've heard is like just loving it, grinding away on it.
Like
So
into it. Yeah.
the idea that they're like, hey, 1.1, what should we do? Change a lot of shit is crazy to me.
Yep.
I don't know. The CEO of the studio behind Hello Neighbor apparently fantasizes about using HR AI to monitor and fire his employees. Oh my God, this is just like they made a story and AI designed a story for this podcast.
This is the worst. I'm so appalled right now. Like,
Did you read how like horror? This guy, this fucking chode. I can't believe. Oh shit! I should have practiced his name. Is he Greek?
Let me pull it up.
Oh, I'm in trouble now. And this
Gosh.
article's been removed. Now?
Alex Nichiporchik. Is that the guy?
Nichiporchik?
Porchik, yeah.
Porchik.
Nichiporchik.
Well, it's gonna be hard to blast our boy Alex appropriately because I can't say his fucking last name. But this guy was giving a talk, speech of some kind, a presentation, and he revealed that apparently a number of different metrics they have that they track in an effort to avoid burnout. So, like a lot of well-meaning technologies, dynamite. Sometimes people use them for the things you didn't want them used for, but not often is the bad use literally directly next to the semi-questionable use, which is the one he's outlining here, which is to avoid burnout. But how are they avoiding burnout? Let's see. One of the things they do is apparently track how often people say I or me in meetings, which correlates with burnout.
Okay.
Talking in the first person, I guess, correlates with burnout.
They want you to start talking in the third person.
The third person. That's what I'm going to start doing at work to let everyone know that I'm comfortable and relaxed with the current workload I'm under. JD loves how much work JD is getting. I don't get any pronouns. Can I use any pronouns or should I just use proper names?
Not anymore. Proper nouns exclusively.
I don't want people to think that I'm getting burned out on the podcast. JD is fine on the podcast. JD is not tired. What the fuck? That's so crazy. So he also wants to identify who talks most in meetings and fire them. He shared.
Is that like a bad thing?
Dude, JD thinks it's not a bad thing, but JD doesn't know anything anymore.
Oh my goodness. Peterson cannot believe this. This is ludicrous. You know what he wants? He wants everyone to look just like watch his PowerPoint presentation and shut up and just like pay attention to it.
Yeah,
Don't talk.
this-
Why are you making comments? He already knows all the answers.
This guy sounds like half the engineers I've ever worked with. Just shut up and work. What's the fucking problem? I'm like, guys, we have to talk a little bit about
Like-
all of the shit we're doing together.
I prefer not to talk. I would just maybe write up a document about.
Can we not be in a meeting? And we lost Peterson. Oh, is anyone watching us right now? Is that embarrassing? Oh, thank God.
Sorry, I'm back.
You're back. Anyway,
Back button.
you press the back button. That's a fucking.
It's because I have a back button on my mouse,
Oh, okay.
on my thumb, and
Um,
I clicked it with my big old fat thumb.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is the worst version, the worst use of AI. Can you imagine?
It's collecting and you're like, where's this coming from? It's all your Slack messages. It's all the Zoom calls you're on. That's what they're doing, is they're tracking like all of these interactions. This is the equivalent of if the pandemic hadn't happened, we were all still like all working in the office. This would be like having bugs. This would be like if HR bugged every
Bugged your
fucking meeting
computer.
room and bugged your computer and every keystroke you ever took, and then crunched that data using made up metrics that they just came up with. Like I and me correlates with burnout, stuff like that. You just make it up and then you shit can people. And then you go give presentations. Listen to this smarmy motherfucker. This is what he says, quote, again, this is very Black Mirror level stuff, but it works.
Oh gosh,
What?
like he has he watched Black Mirror?
This is what I'm saying, dude.
This isn't like
This
a good thing.
when the evil use case is just like sitting right underneath the use case you're talking about. Like,
oh
what-
my
like this
god.
nuclear bomb is so good at keeping me warm. I love it. Now, it could be freaky if someone decided that we should, make it explode. But for right now, oh man, it is so nice and warm. So he goes on and says, quote, we had our first case last week where a studio lead was not in a good place. No one told us. Had we waited a month, we probably would not have a studio. So I'm really happy that worked. So had we waited a month, we wouldn't have a studio. Not a studio head. Wait, he stopped talking about that studio lead. Did they fire him? Did he die? Did you feed him to the rest of
Did
the
your
employees?
AI like murder him? What's happening? Is he hooked up to? Is he safe right now?
Rewind the presentation. You got to tell us what happened to the fucking studio lead. Clearly, this guy and all the technology that he's building that he's so proud of, it literally is only designed to keep the company running. I mean, eventually, just like in the Terminator, the AI is going to determine the big factor that's slowing everything down is the people. That's what this Alex bro is getting to. That's the fucking thread he's scratching at. Is it the thing that really screws companies up? The thing that costs companies the most money is the fucking employees. They take so much time to do things.
You know what, JD? Let's make a AI productivity tool for C-suites only, and see what they're actually doing all
So
day
it just
long.
drinks scotch all day and takes 2-hour lunches.
Yeah. Goes and plays some golf, maybe.
Knows how to get cocaine. So
Cocaine at work. They
He like-
know who has it.
Aren't you like a 50-year-old guy? Where did you get that hookup? So he gets put on blast for this, obviously, because
He
People
has
like-
to. Come on.
quit pulling the curtain up so high. We know the Terminator's coming, but you don't need to show us his metallic legs. He goes on to say, quote, this is his apology. He says, the HR part of my presentation was a hypothetical, hence the Black Mirror reference. I'm sorry. I'm just going to go back in case you guys don't want to rewind the podcast. I'm going to read to you the direct Black Mirror quote he said, quote, again, this is very Black Mirror level stuff, but it works.
But it works.
And he says it was a hypothetical, hence the Black Mirror reference. Does it work or is it hypothetical? You lying fuck!
Well, and then he says hypothetical, but after he said that, he immediately gives us a situation saying, "See, it worked." Where like some guy was murdered, I think. I don't know.
Non-hypothetical situation where we murdered our studio lead and fed him to the AI machine because it
Also-
runs on biomatter now.
Also, very dramatic. He said he was not in a good place. Had we waited a month, we probably would not have a studio.
was
give
the
me a
guy gonna
break.
bring a gun to
You're
work?
you're saying this studio is hinged on this one employee.
And thank God for your AI HR for flagging this guy.
Oh,
He's
dude.
gotta go.
If he was still there, who knows what would have happened? Honestly,
Bomb threats. Who knows?
like
Anthrax?
I don't think the studio would actually exist physically. I think it would be leveled to the ground.
Is
by
there
now.
AI HR running like simulations on like potential workplace incidents?
Oh my gosh, dude.
And it's giving reports. And so this guy, Alex, is looking at his desk, and the AI, which is being fed exclusively Michael Bay movies, is like, dude, you have no idea. This guy, he said I in a meeting 4 times. I mean,
He
I'm pretty
probably
he's
has a
stocking
gun
up
right
ammo
now.
Right now.
He has a gun. He's pointing. He's at your door with a gun, and he's pointing it at the door. He knows exactly where you are. Get under your desk. Here's the other thing. Look, any good HR person understands that your best employees are productive. Honestly, realistically, maybe 10 to 12 hours a week at most. Like most of your 40 hours, you're not really being productive or like doing something useful that's like earning the company money. And so like HR productivity tools are a nightmare, right?
Mhm.
This is like, are you trying to just hook your employees up to chain them to the computer and be like, don't look away. If you
Mhm.
look away, if you're not typing, if you're not mouse
Zuck's
clicking,
working on the eye stuff, the eye tracking. That's the Zuckerberg project.
this is a slippery slope that is a bad idea. So
So don't buy games from Hello Neighbor because they are made by AI driven wage slaves. After years of famine, Ubisoft plans a feast of games.
this is what they do.
I think I should get a pat on the back for not making a I was gonna go something about how they were gonna blow their load.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
with blue balls, but
Yeah, no,
look at me, I took the high road.
Feast and Famine is great.
Feast
I
and
do
Famine.
like Blow Load because I started playing Clash Royale again, and whenever
Oh.
someone uses too much of their
You're like, you
elixir all
blew
at
your
once, I'm
load.
like, blew your load. I got you now.
I was thinking of that scene from Fast and the Furious when they're at Race Wars. Which,
And he
can I
hits it too
say that
fast.
Race Wars only hit me recently when I was listening to the How Did This Get Made for Fast and the Furious?
Dude,
And they talked about Race Wars being like the name of the race in the desert.
yes.
And I was like, why is that so weird? And then as they kept harshing on it, I was like, oh my God, it's like a race war.
Yeah.
Dude, that movie came out in 99.
Same.
I'm
Dude.
so fucking dumb.
You and me exactly the same. I was listening to that same episode and they start chanting race wars
Race
and start making fun of themselves for it. And I was like,
That's what I heard it when they started chanting race wars. And I was like,
dude,
oh!
same. I didn't put it together until that moment. That's
There's
so
that
funny.
moment where Johnny Tran's racing what's his fucking name?
The Asians versus the white guys.
Yes. And Vin Diesel's in the middle. No one
Paul
knows what's going
Walker.
on.
Paul Walker.
Oh, the little guy, the engineering guy. That's who he's
Oh,
racing.
yeah. I
And
forgot the
he
first
uses
one.
his NOS too early.
Yep, he blows his load.
And Tran's like, oh, too early, Jesse. Oh, I can know his name if it's a direct quote from the film because I have the whole fucking movie memorized.
Cannot think of his name off the top of your head. Just do a quote.
Too soon, Jesse. And then he hits his NOS. Oh, that's what I should have gone with. Too soon, Jesse, because Ubisoft to bring it back, because you guys, what the fuck are they talking about? Ubisoft thinks they're gonna get 10 games out the door before March, and you know how I know they're not gonna get one of these out the door? Because one of these games is fucking Skull and Bones. They think Skull and Bones is coming out before March next year.
GD, 3 of these 10, so they all have like a month. By them, 3 of them just say TBD. Look, if you're looking at March, dude, we're like 6 months out, and TBD is not going to cut it at this point.
Whatever hopium these executives at Ubisoft are shooting straight into their bloodstream, I want some of it, because I think I could use it for the coming climate crisis. That would be good for me.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
If I could be that optimistic about just anything, I'd be stoked. These guys think they're going to get fucking 10 games out the door. I'll just read these. The Crew Motorfest, Assassin's Creed Mirage, a new Assassin's Creed game, the newest Just Dance game, Avatar, the Avatar game, the fucking tie-in licensed Avatar Frontiers of Pandora game is supposed to be out in December. No, not gonna fucking happen. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, a brand new entry in Prince of Persia? No. And then, quote, another large game. So that could be Star Wars Outlaws, but who fucking knows?
But it's coming out in the next 9 months.
In the next 9 months, hopefully. We'll see.
Honestly, I don't want to play it. Like, I don't. If a game has, if we don't know anything about it, and like, hey, it's gonna come out soon, and this is Ubisoft. They don't keep secrets.
No,
I am not optimistic.
So is there one you think might make it? Maybe Just Dance. I think Just Dance 24 is the only game Ubisoft
Just Dance
released
looking pretty good.
The end of this year. In 2023, the other rest of them, X Defiant, which is supposed to be a free Call of Duty competitor, that's supposed to come out this summer. Well, they better hurry. Let's see, Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones. That's not coming out.
Skull and Bones.
It's been delayed 6 times.
2018.
I
so
love
it's
that.
to come out in 2018, I think. And oops. Rainbow Six Siege Mobile. Actually, that one I could see
that could
one
come out. Yeah, it doesn't even
out,
have to be good.
Who would even fucking notice?
Doesn't even have to be good. No one cares.
And then the Division Resurgence, which is the mobile version of
that
Division.
could come out too.
Maybe
Probably be the same game, honestly, as Rainbow Six Siege, just slightly different.
Here's the thing: are they going to be? Is Massive going to be working on it? Because Massive is supposed to be making the fucking Avatar game.
They're making the Avatar game. Oh, and then the other large game. Apparently, they're also doing that.
Well, I hope their name matches like the size of their studio, because they've got a lot of work to do. Do you think that Ubisoft employees, the Ubisoft staff saw this and they're like, oh,
like, what are you doing? What are you doing here?
You just pick a random tester out of Ubisoft and they know how many of these games are going to come out.
Here's the other problem that Ubisoft, they do this, right? They did this, was it 2 years ago or last year? They released like a crazy amount of games. They have no strategy when it comes to business. They will actively compete with themselves for market share. Like 2 or 3 of these games coming out in October, a couple of them coming out in January. Like, they don't care. They're just going to compete with themselves.
This is Mountain Dew releasing all their new flavors in the same week. And you're like, oh, I can't drink all these. And they're like, well, they're gone now. And you're like, oh.
You didn't try them too late. Sorry.
Why did you do that?
Why didn't you stagger it a little bit so I could try them? What if I liked one of them and I just wanted to stick to that for a couple weeks? They're like, no, sorry. You just got to pound them all. Like, maybe mix them together. Make a mixed Mountain Dew drink. A little bit of... Dude.
And the thing is about Ubisoft games is they're like the same audience. It's the same place. And more so, they want everyone to be playing on their Uplay, on their like service.
Yeah.
So why don't you slow drip these? So people are incentivized to keep it for more than one.
Yeah, like I could get the Ubisoft service for like 4 months and just get all their new games. Like that's what I'm saying. They don't have a business strategy. They're just like, I don't know. We got a bunch of games. Throw them out. All of them. They're like, these games kind of play the same. They're like first person action adventure type of things. They're like all of them. I want them all out today at the same time. We don't care.
Just do it. You get it. I mean, they're just excited to be able to actually get a game out the door. If they can get one of these, Ugh.
They see one hit. That's what they're going for. They're just looking for that one hit that's
Just
really
Dance.
it's
Just Dance 24. That's going to be the Just Dance that makes their nut. That's going to turn Ubisoft into a super studio. Oh, I missed it while you were gone.
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't pull it up and listen to it on my own. I was
I'll-
good.
I should have just
Send it to
periodically
me.
sent it to you and been like, here you go, buddy.
I've been missing you, pal. Here's a riblets. Riblets are little meat nuggets of news. Not enough for a full rib, just a half rib. The chef in the back part of it off, and then put the rest on your plate,
He's
and you
like,
got
"Oh, yeah."
yourself a riblet.
Yeah. Oh, this is a riblet. This is like looks like you took a bite out of it. I did not.
Looks
This is what it's supposed to look like.
Pokemon Sleep will also capture your farts, people. Pokemon Sleep, which is out and available now. If you want a fart tracking sleep app that just stays on your phone next to your pillow at all times, and then classifies your type of sleep as a certain Pokemon, and also records any loud noises. So basically all your farts, and then gives you a fart report every morning. Well, Pokemon Sleep is out now, everybody.
Dude, honestly, I'm not sure I want to know. Like, I know I snore pretty bad, so I'll get my snoring and my farts. Like, it's I don't know if I want that. Or I'll like wake up and try to fart real loud to see if I can get it. Like, give myself a, I don't know, a super Snorlax or something.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, here we go. Like, that's
It's rough.
what is this game?
It's gonna be a tough scene for a lot of people when they wake up tomorrow morning and they're like, "That's what I sound like."
What's this big sound spike here at like 3 a.m.? What is that?
I shit my pants. What the fuck? Did someone step on a duck?
Bedroom ducks are the worst.
EA has formed a new studio to work on their upcoming Black Panther game. Long story short, this is a job announcement. This is a job
Love
posting.
these.
Cliffhanger Games is the name of the studio. They are a new AAA development studio based in Seattle. Cool.
Okay.
They're working on an original third-person single-player Black Panther game in collaboration with Marvel Games.
Yeah, honestly,
Sounds sick.
I
Do it up.
you know what I was thinking when I saw this story is I wish, because I like these superhero games. I like them.
Mhm.
They're very big often, and so they kind of get old for me. Some of these like action third person types of games do get old for me pretty quickly. And these games are often like 40 plus hours long. Give me like a 15-hour version of these games that are like, sell them to me for $45, 15 hours,
Oh.
short game. Like, I'd be way more likely to play this. But I know if I played, because I would be interested in playing this. Sounds fun. I love Black Panther. I think he's super cool. But I
think
already
there's
know how
jungle
this is gonna play. I already know what this game is gonna be like, and I know I'm gonna have fun with it for like 10 to 15 hours and then be done.
Yeah. So, but it sounds like we won't see it for, what's your
Oh,
estimate?
yeah.
4 years?
Yeah, we got a while.
'Cause they're just starting. I mean, they just formed the studio. So, Cliffhanger Games. God, that's a bland name.
Yeah, it is. The other problem is too, in 4 years, I promise you, we're gonna have some changes in the Black Panther
Mhm.
casting, and so we'll see what they do with like what Black
I'm
Panther.
sure this is separate from MCU. I bet they kind of do their own thing. They'd be foolish not to, because like Spider-Man, pays a little homage to MCU things here and there, but they did their own thing, and I can't imagine any studio not following that model at this point.
Yeah, you think they'll just kind of do their own?
You've got so much to draw from, and
true.
you've got to also imagine that the MCU, even down to the Disney Plus things, the MCU is comic book stories distilled to a 90 to 120 minute format. And video games are not that long. And so you pick different comic book story arcs, you pick different characters. And if you try to make a 1-to-1 of the movie at this point, it's just going to be dog shit. So yeah. And I mean, there's so much out there. Why would you handcuff yourself to the MCU, which is,
I mean, they could make their own original story too, and yeah.
So I'm stoked. I think it could be cool. I think Black Panther's sick.
I do too.
I think as a video game character, he's sick. I think that's he's
I
not like
think
too
he's-
OP, right?
He's great for video games, kind of like Batman, right?
He
Batman
just wails on people. Yeah.
is great for video games because he just punches and stuff like that, jumps around and punches and kicks. And that's Black Panther too. He's not like
Like
shooting
Iron
guns.
Man, I'm like, why are you even involving these guys? Can't you just laser all their heads off and be done with it?
Yeah,
Or
just
send
shoot-
a robot to do it?
shoot like all these missiles and
Yeah.
that's it. Don't you have a satellite you can use or something like that?
right, yawn. But no, Black Panther is hitting it
Goes there,
real. Just
scratches
goes-
people's eyes out.
come down, scratch your fucking eyes out. Gaming handhelds like the Switch and the Steam Deck will need a replaceable battery by 2027.
I can get on board with this.
I love riblets because like this is so not worth anything beyond the headline. This is the new EU law that is aimed at phones because that's your iPhone in a couple of years is probably going to have a replaceable battery, which is sick. And that's a new European Union regulation law, whatever, that will just filter down because that's, you know, a big chunk of the market, and making two separate phone lines won't be worth it. Well, this also apparently applies to the Switch, the Steam Deck, the ROG, and anything else that comes out. So that's cool.
Honestly, like I feel like I have to give kudos to the EU because they're making like these very consumer friendly laws to
Mhm.
these companies and industries that are so not consumer friendly.
No.
Right? You used to be able to replace your cell phone battery super easily. Like my sister, I was just hanging out with her this week, and she was like, "Yeah, my battery sucks. I can go get it changed, but my screen is cracked." So they said I'd have to replace the screen and do all this stuff, and it's gonna be $600 to do all that.
Ridiculous. Should just, and we used to just be able to pop it out.
And
I had one phone I bought 3 new batteries for because
Yeah.
I liked the phone and the battery technology was shit, and I
Yeah.
used it a ton. So I just cranked through the batteries.
you
but-
just go buy battery for $20 and
It
pop
was
it in.
so cheap. Yeah, those batteries I got
Do
them
it
on like
yourself.
Amazon.
Yeah.
So 2027, 4 years. So I would imagine any new productions of these devices, if they're going to come out with whatever Nintendo's next handheld, because you know Nintendo's next console is going to have some sort of handheld element to it, that'll have a replaceable battery. And you know what? I bet these companies might, once they get, used to it, they'll like that. Because
Yeah.
now we don't have to obsess about, are all these battery replacements and all the like. Now we have, because think about Apple, they have an entire infrastructure and line that's just dedicated. They have entire segments of the company that are dedicated to battery replacement at their stores. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
You don't have to
that
pay
seems
for all
like
those
a
people
huge
because
waste.
you can mail someone a fucking battery and they go bloop bloop, because then your engineers have to design a phone that can open. Shit,
Yeah.
sorry. Change the phones. They've been the fucking same thing for 10 years. Oh shit, you have to do something different?
Also, the other thing I was thinking about is it's funny that this doesn't exist already because, like, the Switch specifically loves upsells.
Yeah.
They could be like, "Yeah, our battery life isn't great, but you know what? If you're on a long flight and you can't charge it on the flight, just have 3 batteries, right? The batteries are $20. Just bring
Oh,
an
I
extra
like
battery."
that.
Like people
Battery
would stock
swaps.
up on batteries and just switch it out.
It's
Right?
for handhelds. Oh yeah, because sometimes you're playing 12 hours, you don't have or you want to play 12 hours, you don't have an outlet.
Yeah,
You take it camping, dude. You take your Switch camping if
Dude,
you're
just
alone.
bring 3 batteries and be like, "Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna play."
Or a road trip or something. Yeah. So that, or what's
Mhm.
more, I got my Switch in 2019, so it's 4 years old. I think battery technology has improved vastly since then. So you talk about upsells. Nintendo, instead of having to release a new console with a hour longer battery life, they're like, "Hey, we got a new battery. We got a new battery every year," and it goes
Better
up.
battery, come
now.
get it. Like it'll
Better
be great.
battery, come and get it. And every year you replace your battery, the new one's going to be better.
Seems
like-
so much better.
Ah!
The EU, look, the EU has
Thanks,
its
guys.
faults, but they do some great things
Donka.
for us. So, yeah,
Finally, Microsoft has created a
start over
it's like my brain didn't want to read it because
because it's so stupid. Yeah,
wrong.
no, I'm with you.
Microsoft has created a pizza-scented Xbox controller. Will you put a Blursty tag on this? This has
Yes,
got
I
to be
will.
Blurst feature.
Uh-huh. Yes,
This is a custom Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Xbox controller that has a scent diffuser strapped to the back in the shape of a slice of pizza. Does this then imply the existence of pizza scented essential oils? is that real? I Googled it. It seems like there are pizza
Pretty easy.
oils for candle making is all I could find, but Microsoft may have like sourced this oil for these limited edition controllers.
Yeah, dude.
And
Little oregano, little tomato scent, and like
can't be
you've
that
got
hard. But once it's out, it's out. Like once you've sprayed all your pizza sauce while you play, dude, is anyone gonna actually have this, like, experience this as intended? Like
Somebody
playing the game, and
definitely
they're gonna
will.
press the pizza button, and the whole room's gonna smell like pizza, and they'll turn to their buddy and be like, "Isn't that funny?"
That's it. That is the experience right
Why
there.
didn't they do this?
Look at this
Why
stupid
did they
thing
do
I
such a
spent money
thing?
on. I don't know. Honestly, it's nonsense.
Look, man, Cheez-Its made they had a Cheez-It store. I bought me and Trent and Peterson all Cheez-It beanies.
That is true.
You have red Cheez-It beanies. They're nice and they're cozy and warm. McDonald's released a rug, a spicy chicken sandwich rug. And I bought it because it was funny, and it lives in my laundry room. It's my laundry room rug to keep my feet warm.
This
in the
is
winter.
true. Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is this? What is the use case for this? Like, there's no use case for this. This is so dumb.
And
This is
honestly, like
so
I'm looking at
dumb.
the picture of it, like it seems like the piece of pizza is kind of in the way too.
It does not look like you'd play with or without the diffuser on, because the controller itself looks uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's like when those GameCube controllers they released, those gimmicky ones that were like just like unusable because they had so much shit glued on them.
Okay, here's where the tech is going. Okay, you have a diffuser on your controller.
Mhm.
You load it with just little drops of lots of different essential oils, so they can add an
Like a 3D printer for your
olfactory component to games. And honestly, I can't imagine it would be great for many games.
The zombie games are going to be lovely. I think pressing a button to smell rotting flesh and I don't know, blood and gunpowder.
Look, Snorgle on our chat is saying they have AI nasal tech. I laughed and they said, I'm not joking. Google Microsoft AI nose.
lab, artificial nose.
I don't know.
Why don't we have that? I think about that all the time. Why don't we have just like a centometer thing? You can just smell and do like a chemical analysis of like what that thing is smelling.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like eventually, like everyone's like, yeah, this is kind of cool. Eventually, people are just testing it for farts. So,
and then ultimately, it's going to be used by HR to come up with a reason to fire you, because if your body odor reaches a certain index, they've determined that might lead to burnout, so they fire you.
Toxic work environment. If you are, I'm with you.
Yeah,
dangerous tech.
You're not going to get this controller. I think they're going to make 4 of them, and they'll show up on Reddit in 20 years, and people will be like, "What the fuck is this thing? I found this in my dad's stuff."
And it smells like horrible pizza.
It smells like death.
I can't
20
imagine.
years later,
I can't imagine fresh. It smells good, like good pizza. Right? Get
Dude,
like Little Caesars or worse.
I had I used to because I burn a million candles. But back in the day, I went to Bath and Body Works and I had those. You ever those plugins that you like screw in? Aren't those essential oils?
I think so, yeah.
Because one time I had one and I left it on its side and it must have been opened or something, and it spilled on a hardwood table and it stripped the fucking finish off. Like bad.
Was it like citrus one or something?
No. This is like what the oil is. Like whatever it is, it just like took it down to the fucking bare wood.
Well,
and it was
like, was it like orange oil or lemon or something like that?
Possible.
Because those ones are brutal.
Yeah, but I just remember I spilled it and I picked up the thing and saw it was dripping. I was like, oh shit, grabbed a paper towel, wiped it. Whoop, there goes all the varnish.
The varnish gone.
The fuck? So you're telling me you want to put that next to a control? You want to put that inside of an electronic device?
I don't want to.
It's tight. Can any of you guys get one of these? Let us know how it smells when it farts.
Kudos. Kudos.
Kudos, our positivity segment, giving shout outs to cool things. Mine will be quick because it's very brief and simple. I would like to give a shout out to the public library. In my case, it's the Salt Lake County Public Library System, which has been the same public library system I grew up with. I think I might have the same library card.
It's a little blue card. He's got his name written on it, Jonathan. It's like the letters are all wonky.
Yeah, the H's are backwards because I was so young. I didn't know which way they were supposed to fucking go.
Dummy.
Yeah, so I have started using the library a lot in like the last year. Started getting into a lot more gardening projects and things, and I found Google has become a non-useful hellscape for literally anything that you're trying to learn. I don't know. They don't want you to learn stuff, or they just want you to press on ads and just, I don't know. Anyway, so I started using the library because it's lovely. And I find I want to learn about composting instead of sifting through 200 articles that are made for SEO that say the same shit about composting in like 900 words or less. I go get a fucking book on it, or I get 5 books on it. And I just sit there and read them. And they're all free. And my library tells me how much money I saved based on the value of the books every time I check them out. So that's always cool. Like, you saved $100 today. Just checking out these books. So I love that. I've been reading a lot more just because it's accessible, because I don't have to go on Amazon and buy the book and then looking at a book that I bought for some reason, because if I bought it, there's no pressure. And then it'll just sit there and never get cracked. But a library book, you got to read, dog. You got to
limited time. Get in and out.
They're sending me texts and voicemails like, hey, your book's coming due. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like reading it frantically. Like, oh, shit. I got to get a book on speed reading. So the latest thing that made the reason that I put the library on Critics, you guys are like, oh, wow, JD discovered how libraries work. Congratulations. 3,000 years ago called. They want their news back. But the cool thing about the library that I really learned was I recently was digging into the director who directed Martin Campbell, who directed Mask of Zorro, GoldenEye, Casino Royale, just kind of a random director, but he's directed some of like my favorite films. And so I was like, what has this guy like gotten up to, or where did like his career start? And I realized, or I learned that he got his start on a BBC limited series called Edge of Darkness from 1985. And dude, you can't find this shit. Like, your options are like buying like a weird sketch DVD on like eBay or maybe Amazon. You can't stream it anywhere. You can't rent it anywhere. It's just like unavailable. And quite frankly, I don't want to spend money on something that I don't even really, I'm like a 1980s BBC series. I just kind of like am curious about it. Guess who had it? Fucking library had it the next day.
No way.
Next day they had it, and no one's asking for this, so it just got moved. I mean, I go on the app and it's connected to all the different libraries, and I just request a book. I go straight in the library, go straight to the reserve thing, and I go to the D, and there it is. There's just like a stack of books for me waiting, and they're ready to go. I go check them out, and I'm just, I don't know. I have one in walking distance to me, so it's lovely to go on walk the dogs, go pick up some books, drop off some books, whatever. But if you guys haven't used the library since you were a kid, and you would save some fucking money there, dude. Like, I'm gonna start checking out real DVD, like real movies and stuff I want to watch. Like, I recently learned that The Longest Yard, the Adam Sandler film, it's not streaming anywhere. Get on the fucking library, dude. Why not?
I am one of those that hasn't used the library. My wife would use it. My mother-in-law, she used it. I never did because that's just never kind of my thing. I do a lot of audiobooks, and everyone's like, oh, they have audiobooks in the library. I know they do. I'm not going to do that, though.
Ones too.
I understand. I know exactly. Look, everyone's told me I'm too lazy to figure it out. That's really what it boils down to. But yeah, I will say, though, I've never heard any negative things about libraries. I'll say everything I've heard, librarians are like super on top of it. Just really great. Always know their stuff. Like you said, you can just say, hey, I want this book, and it'll just show up. It'll be there. Who knows where.
They get all up in a tizzy when you try to burn their books, though, or ban books.
They don't.
They're like, oh, people should be able to read books, and you're like, no, I want to burn them because I just disagree with things.
They don't like that. Yeah, you're right.
They will fuck your day up.
They do have their limits.
You try to take books away from people, librarians will come for you.
Yeah, these ladies, you think they're like, oh, these nice ladies, like they have murdered people and they will do it again. So
You will go away, and they'll write a book about it and check it out to your kids.
and on they're for free too. They won't even charge you.
They won't even charge your kids.
Yeah,
And if they, I go in there with a late fee. I pick up late fees every once in a while, and every time I went in there last time, and I had $5 in my hand, like a $5 bill, and I had a $5.50 fee, and I was like, "Hey, I'm ready to pay this fee," and she's like, "Oh, why didn't you try the summer reading program?" I was like, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Yeah, we waive a $5 of fees if you do this, if you go and you get the thing and you sign up." And she sends me to the other librarian, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm here for the summer reading program." And she hands me like an 8.5 by 11 sheet that's clearly meant for a child to fill out. And she's like, but she gives me the same pitch she would give a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And she did it earnestly. She's like, "So this is what you need to do. You need to read these books and this, and then like you fill this out here." And the other's like, "Thank you." And I went back, they waived my fee. They just want you to keep reading books, people.
They honestly,
They're
are not
pure.
of all the government run facilities, they don't care about the fees. They're not interested. They want you to read books. That's like their thing. When I was in Oregon, actually, one of the most horrifying things, look, there's a lot of bad things about Oregon, but when I was there, they shut down the public libraries because they ran out of funding. And I was like, of all the things to shut down, you shut down the library?
It's like all of an empire stuff. When the libraries start shutting down, run to a country that has libraries still.
How are you managing your budget if you had to shut? The libraries are not costing you that much. I know this for a fact. Like, so anyway, yeah, no, good kudos.
Cut $500 billion in subsidies for oil and gas. Can someone help me balance this budget? Peterson, what kudos do you have?
Yeah, so I recently discovered this Christian rock band that was really popular in I think the 90s.
Oh yeah, sing it to me.
No,
about
it's not
Creed.
that. JD thought I wrote down Creed. It's not Creed the rock band. Listen,
Peterson discovered himself.
I love it. His voice is like an angel. It doesn't grate my ears.
Can you think of a Creed song off the top of your head? I keep doing like the voice, but I can't actually think of an actual Creed song.
Always think of Nickelback. I think the two in my head are like
and I may be doing the Nickelback voice, honestly.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, it's the same thing though. I think it's
all I know about Creed is there was like a melting clay guy on a cover. So I'm pretty much a musical historian.
Creed rock band with Arms Wide Open. That's the one. You know that one. With arms wide open. Something.
And Jesus.
Yeah. It's not that. Okay.
So you don't know what I'm singing about.
We are on a tangent. I don't want to talk about the band Creed.
This is Apollo Creed.
I was recently on an airplane from the UK to America, 10+ hour flight, almost an 11-hour flight. Had a lot of time to kill. I cannot sleep on airplanes. And I'm searching through their vast catalog on a Delta flight. And what do I see? The Creed films, Creed 1, 2, and 3. I've never seen any of them. I've heard they're great. So
you watched the whole Creed trilogy?
Back to back to back. Did not even take a break, JD.
That's how they intended it to be viewed. It was written and directed as a singular trilogy. I'm just like Lord of the Rings.
Back to back to back. And honestly, loved it.
Was it good?
First off, have you seen them at all?
No, I haven't seen past Rocky Balboa.
The Creed movies are great. Very good.
I've heard
very
good.
Very good.
I just was like, is it worth me getting into more boxing films?
Yes, it is. First off, Michael B. Jordan, so hot. Like he's easy to look at. And
a real step up from Sylvester Stallone
and
to grimace at.
And Stallone is in this. Old man Stallone is rough, but he's young Michael B. Jordan with his shirt off. He's just jacked in these films too, and you're just like, honestly, he looks fantastic.
And you stand him next to Stallone, and you're like, wow, you look even better now.
Stallone
contrast
somehow sounds like every old Italian American guy too. Like if you close your eyes, you can picture like 3 or 4 different actors when Stallone is talking, which isn't typical for young Stallone. He was very like, yeah, you heard his voice. And this one, you're like, he sounds like so many different actors. But anyways, these movies, fantastic. If you're unfamiliar, it is in the old Rocky movies. One of Rocky's kind of nemesis was Apollo Creed, who they end up fighting. Of course, Rocky wins. And then Apollo Creed dies in a fight with Ivan Drago, which is Rocky 4 when Rocky fights
He dies.
Ivan Drago. And so that was like a big thing. Well, Apollo Creed had a illegitimate son, and his name is Adonis Creed. He doesn't go by Creed, and he's a kid. He's like wants to be a boxer, but he wants to make it on his own, right? So he starts to get into it. He recruits Rocky to help him because no one will train him. So he goes to Philly, finds Rocky, and he's like, Rocky, you got to train me. I'm Apollo Creed's son. And Rocky and Apollo Creed became like super good friends in the films. And so
Rocky just immediately is like,
Rocky's
down?
like, no, I'm not going to. And then he's like, fine, I'm going to. So he starts training him. And of course, it goes from there. It's very good. The boxing scenes are fantastic. They do a great job with the like
You're
fight,
selling me on this, dude.
fight choreography is done very well.
I love Rocky.
I'm telling you, JD, you will love these movies. They're not even like so. Rocky is in Creed 1 and 2. He's not in Creed 3 at all. Sylvester Stallone is not in it. That is
get punched to death by Mr. T.
Mr. T makes an appearance, fights Rocky,
Just ice Rocky,
and they kill each other. It's kind of crazy.
You just bring him in to kill off Rocky. Like, finish the job.
Rocky does not fight anyone, which is kind of good. But like all of the, it's kind of like Cobra Kai, like a lot of throwbacks. So like Ivan Drago makes an appearance, and Creed has to fight his son. Right. And so that's like a big one because Drago killed Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
And so so they do this fight, and Ivan Drago's son is like a monster, right? This guy's like freaking crazy.
Has Drago retained his pro-capitalist leanings from the end of Rocky 4?
No, he was banned from the USSR, kicked out of Russia.
Yeah.
So he's living in Ukraine. Just barely scraping by. Russia has like turned their back on him until his son starts to make his way back into it. It's so good. JD, you just like for real.
This is so tight. This is so tight.
They're very
never
good.
Watched these had you not made this pitch.
My wife told me they're really good, and I was like, whatever. And I've seen them on streaming services. And then finally, it was an airplane movie, right? I had no time. There was nothing else I wanted to watch. So I was like, I guess I'll watch them. And I got so sucked in, like I said, back to back to back. Don't regret that decision at all. I had so much fun. Great movies. Michael B. Jordan's so hot.
Does it set up who might be the next boxer in the RCU?
No, it does not. Maybe his daughter, who he has.
Maybe the robot from Rocky 4.
And
we do like a Real Steel type of thing with that and a Rocky clone.
Maybe that's the case.
I don't know. The RCU is going to go off the hook after Apollo, though.
Dude, it's going to go so off the hook. They're going to take a Fast and the Furious route.
Going to space.
It's just
boxing aliens in space.
Yeah. We met the aliens, and then the first thing we decided was to box them.
That is the worst Rocky
voice. Hey, look, I knew what you were doing. Everyone knew what you were doing, though. That's the thing. The Rocky voice doesn't have to be good. It just has to sound really stupid.
It has to sound like you got a mouthful of marbles.
I got a box of Apollo Creed.
A box with aliens.
I'll trade.
I'm gonna get him.
You punch different in space.
In space, no one can hear you punch.
My Rocky is so bad.
It's getting worse as we do more. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I need to calibrate.
Adrian.
Adrian. Yeah.
In the basement
I'm typing my confessions. I hope you guys won't make fun of me.
There's a non-zero amount of people who turned off the podcast after the last 25 seconds of shit. They're like, the Rocky impression is so bad, at least it's over, and then we go into that. I'm sorry, everybody.
I can't breathe.
Really am.
I can't breathe.
But we're doing our best here, which is admittedly not that great.
Guys, I'm so tired. My body legitimately thinks it's like 4 a.m. because I'm still on jet-lagged London time.
You guys all
Anything
signed
can
up,
happen.
subscribe to a 6 out of 10 podcast. You are getting a 6 out of 10.
Anything can happen.
Keyboard Confessionals is this segment. We apologize for the bumper. We're working on a new one. We were talking about it tonight, but this is
I don't know why we did it again, to be honest. We just recently did it. Hated the
'Cause we're
bumper. I don't know why
tired.
we did it again.
tired. That's
just-
why it's stuck in my head. Keyboard Confessions is where we confess to our gaming sins. We sit down in the confessional and we tell the priest what we have done wrong to offend the gaming gods.
Yeah.
And this week's confessional, I would like us to focus on what games we've played that we would be embarrassed about to see the equivalent of Zelda's Heroes Path mode. So I've been playing Zelda, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Recently unlocked this ability in the game. I had no idea this was part of the game. It literally shows you every step you've taken. If you pull up the map and you go into Heroes Path mode, it will show you the exact path you've taken on the map as a squiggly line up to 350 hours of gameplay, which I'm not going to hit on this game. So this will capture literally
crazy.
every step I've. So when I'm running around chasing dragonflies, it's just like, zzz, or when my ADHD is just on hyperdrive and I'm fast traveling from spot to spot and then zipping around and zipping around and zipping around, all of that is displayed. You can kind of just start it whenever you want. You can just recover or rewind certain things. The amount of like history basically that it gives you into how you played these games is mind-blowing. And quite frankly, a little embarrassing. When I saw how I behaved in some of these instances, I turned it off, dude. I looked at it for a minute. I was like, I don't want people to see that. It's like my messy desk. That's like my browser history. That's like really personal stuff. How I play an open world video game. So would you be embarrassed? Are there other games that you're like, don't show me what I did? I don't want to know that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it has to be one of those games where you're running around a lot. But I can say right now, any game, there's been a couple games in the history of this podcast. There's been a few games that I 100%. I just do everything.
Very notable.
Those would be legitimately embarrassing to watch. The latest one was the Hogwarts Legacy. That would be embarrassing to see.
I didn't
First,
consider that one.
for a couple reasons. First off, I think you'd see that I was like traveling the same paths over and over, but then you would see me. There's a couple times when you're like searching for something on your broom, and
Yeah.
I am just an idiot. Like you would, if you could see the landmark I'm looking for, and I'm just zipping around it, completely missing it for
Too fast.
honestly way too long. Like you would see this big, just very bright section and be like, what was he doing there? It would be embarrassingly long. Like there was a few things I remember looking for 20 plus minutes, just flying around the same zone.
You were so completionist on that game that doesn't spread. Because I was just gonna say I would be not embarrassed at all. My Hogwarts Legacy felt like a dream or like a story that I played through, like a book. But you were so obsessed with getting all those stupid.
It would be bad.
What were those Merlin's trials? You did like every one,
Yeah.
and you stopped and like killed every group of people you saw.
Honestly,
yours
it
be
would
embarrassing.
look real bad. I mean, my map might be like just a huge mess, and then over Hogwarts Lake or whatever, it would
Yeah.
just be blank. I never flew
Fire
over
Lake.
that.
Are you serious? That was the coolest one because you get real close on the water. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I did a couple times, but in the back of my head, I was like, "Yeah, there's a huge kraken in there that's gonna come up and get me." I don't know why. I don't like deep water,
I wish you had shared that with me because that is hilarious.
so I didn't fly over. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Kraken.
And then the other one that would be very embarrassing was any of the Far Cry games. Same
Yup.
type of thing. I just did everything, and you would just see like way too much movement. And then you'd see the times when I was like trying to like Skyrim climb up mountains and stuff, and that didn't work. It would just be the most ridiculous thing. I think I would be embarrassed to even stream it sometimes.
And the most embarrassing part of Far Cry for you is that it would show how intently you had done all these tasks and you'd gone way out of your way, and then all of a sudden it would just stop. And people would be like, wait, did he finish? Why did he just stop in the middle of a field?
Why is he
Forever.
on that mountain just stopped?
For good.
Yeah, it would be pretty bad. You would watch me do the flying thing, failing at the flying things over and over and over and over.
So it's
and
just like
over.
a point and just straight lines out from that point.
Like the same thing.
and then
and
they
you'd be
just
like,
crash. They just explode each time.
and you'd be like, why is I don't understand. Was he trying to make a design there?
Drawing a comb.
Yeah, nope. That's just me sucking. Like there were certain aspects of these games that I'm just not good at that would be embarrassing for people to see. So yeah.
Is that all of yours?
Those were the main ones. What do you got?
Cool. I didn't know if I should just bang through because I had a couple, but they're
Okay.
pretty quick. Axiom Verge. I think I talked about this because I got this for Dice of Destiny and I played this, and it was a Metroidvania. And if you guys remember, Metroidvanias, you go back and forth a ton. So
Yep.
no one would ever be embarrassed by their Metroidvania Heroes Path mode because who's to judge?
Yeah.
You can judge me on this one because I beat the whole game. I did everything I was supposed to and couldn't find like the last room of the game. And it was like at the beginning of the game or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So you just like go back to the beginning part and you're like, here's all the stuff I collected through the whole game. And they're like, here, you beat it or fight this boss. I don't even remember. Because what I do remember is that I went through every single fucking like biome or area in that whole game. And I don't know. I think I might have been in a weird place. Maybe it was the pandemic. I don't know. Hindsight that I can't believe I didn't just Google this because I should just fucking Google it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm older now. I'm more cynical. Maybe this was pre-pandemic, honestly. But I was like, why did I do such a dumb thing? It's embarrassing. I did the whole game. So you'd see me do the whole, and it's a Metroidvania. It's not like going through it again is going to do that much unless you're deliberately looking for a specific power up or something. And I wasn't. I was just trying to finish it. So I wasn't even having fun. I was just going through the rooms.
Oof. Yeah.
That was bad. GTA San Andreas. I had that when I was like an early teenager. So I played that a ton. What embarrassed me is seeing how much time I spent going to get all the collectibles. So there's like 50 collectibles in each area, and they were all over. The player was like tagging the walls. So you drive over this whole game looking for like a wall with tags on it. And there's 50 of them. It was an inordinate amount of time. Just that game, just back and forth. And then the last one I'll talk about is Pokemon Blue, which I had as a kid. Pokemon Blue. My Hero's Path mode would just be the game. I went through the game like anyone does. But then anyone that's played the original Pokemon games, the end game is just one thing. There's like one cave and like one group of trainers that you can fight again, and they're powerful. And so it would literally just be me going from this cave to these trainers and then to the island where you could use a certain glitch to get 1 million items. And it would just be this triangle, just this constant, very thick triangle to the point that that's all I ever did was just walk that path. So, yeah, those would be my my heroes. I think this is the coolest thing ever. I hope they start doing it in more games.
This would be interesting. There's another one that I think would be pretty embarrassing, and that is Rocket League. And let me explain why.
Every match.
I played a lot of Rocket League, and I realized some time ago that I have the same drive path, and I just drive and this is like subconscious. I drive to just go over the
Mhm.
little,
The little-
boosts, the little those things. But sometimes to the detriment of like the game, because I'm just like, that's my drive path. I just got to go over these boosts. But the more embarrassing part would be how often, because I never switch. I always leave it on ball cam. People are like, oh yeah, just switch to go get the big boost, the 100% boost. I never do. How often I completely miss the big 100% boosts, JD, it is most of the time.
I feel like it'd be easy to do a heat map of like a top-down heat map of all your like lines, and you'd see it'd be like really thick right next to the 100% boost.
I never hit. I miss it most of the time. I'll drive past it and then like, oh, and then I'm like, the game's still going, and I'm like backing up to hit it and like going off like, and in Rocket League, like you stop for a minute, like that's it.
Yeah.
Embarrassingly little amount of flying that you would see from me. I think it would be pretty shocking if I had like a good person watching it. It would be very embarrassing. So,
and compared to where your ranking is, because like your ranking's pretty high.
yeah, and they'd be like, "How are you this high? You
For how
never
many
get the
mistakes you
boost."
made.
And if you could hear my chat to be like, I'm at a boost, and be like, yeah, because you drove past it so many times. It was there. You drove right past it. I'm sorry, I couldn't get it. I didn't have any boost. That's me. So, anyways, that was my other one.
That's dope. Okay, let's do this next thing.
I guess I don't have it on here.
All right, JD asks, is this segment where I ask something? And this week's JD asks, I want to ask, what are some gaming equivalents of jet lag? Keeping it
Because
topical.
Peterson is super jet lagged.
Yeah. So
I mean, like super jet lagged. I woke up at 2 a.m. today, just ready for the day. I was up eating a bowl of cereal at like 3:30, watching TV, and I was like, I'm just wide awake. Like, this is what
Fuck
time I
that.
wake up.
Hate that.
I'm still on London time, and that's legit. Like, if I look at my sleeping pattern over the last couple of days, I'm fully on London time still. So I'm really staying up quite a bit right now. So I'm a little delirious, but yes. So what is the gaming equivalent of jet lag? And I got a couple, but you go first. Why don't you go first?
I think we're gonna have a lot of similar ones.
No, we'll see. We'll
Can
see.
we just skip the obvious one, which is when you spend like a late night gaming way too late.
I didn't even put that one on there.
Good. We're skipping that one.
Listen, look, your brain is not going to be the same as my jet lag brain.
Okay, let's see about that. First one I've got here is when you come off a big AAA game that you've been playing for a while, a couple weeks, couple months. So we just talked about Far Cry, Zelda, Fallout 4. I feel like when I've been playing one of these games that is, like I said, a AAA game that's really designed to be super immersive and like a real blockbuster experience, it kind of just, I mean, for me, I dream about the games that I'm playing. I'll wake up having dreamed about Zelda a lot lately. And it's just like this big, long, it's like a part of my life. It's like 1 month of my life. I was like the Zelda month. I was like the Fallout 4 6 months. And that is when you come off of that. And you're like, what do I play now?
Now, what do I do?
Or what do I do? And I'm honestly like wrapping up Zelda, and I'm going to be in the mode when I go flop on the couch and like reach for the Switch controller, which I haven't been doing in like a year or more because I haven't had any Switch games that I've really been playing. And so I'm going to have to get out of the mode of playing the Switch entirely because I've just got like you're just on London time. I'm on Zelda time.
This is, yeah, you sit
It's
down.
Zelda
This is
time.
when I play Zelda.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have that one, JD.
Okay.
So
okay.
here's what I
You're
got.
right.
So because I'm currently experiencing jet lag, so I think I'm looking at it a little differently.
Literal.
When you're jet lagged, right? I understand what's going on with my body, and I'm still confused. I know earlier today, okay, it was noon, and I was like, oh, what am I gonna make for dinner tonight? And I was like, no, I want to make these chicken tacos, but it was like, you got to marinate them for an hour, and I was like, it's too late, I can't, because I know it's noon, but in my body is telling me it's 7 p.m. and I'm like, I need to make dinner right now. And then I'm like, wait a second, it's freaking noon. Like, I've got so much time before dinner. Graham comes in and he's like, "Hey, I want to make like this baked mac and cheese," and I was like, "We can't do this; it's gonna take too long." He's
It's
like,
dinner time, boy.
he's so confused. It was 1:00. He's like, "What do you mean take too long? It takes an hour and a half." And I was like, "We can't do it in an hour and a half." Like in my head, we've already missed dinner. Like I know what time it is, so I'm very confused. This is puzzle games. So puzzle
Okay.
games are often like you're playing them and you're like, "This is great. I've got it. This is super fun." But then as you move along, they try to like scale and the difficulty, and like you understand the game, but you legit cannot figure it out. Like you just can't. So I played this. My son was playing this game, and I wish I could remember what it was called on the Xbox. And there's this room. I mean, it's pretty very basic game. There's this room you go in and you click on one. There's like all these vases or something, or lamps is what they were. You click on one in the middle, and it's a grid, and the ones touching it either turn on or turn off based on what they're currently at. And you're supposed to turn them all off, I think. And I was like, no problem. Dude, I worked on this for like 25 minutes and I was like, I understand what I'm supposed to do. I cannot get it. We had to like look up online how to get it. This is like a game for little kids.
Yeah.
So they're just like they tried too hard to scale it to the point where you're like, I know what I'm trying to do. This is not hard and I can't do it. I legit can do it. Puzzle games get that way for me. What's that? What was that one called? My brain's really not working. Baba Is You.
Baba Is You. Nice.
Such a great game. First 10 levels, you're like, I got this. I'm a genius. And then you start getting to them and you're like, this is an impossible level. There's no way to figure this out. Like, I know people have done it, but I can't do it. Like, my brain won't work like this. And so that's kind of jet lag. When you understand everything about it, but you are still confused.
Definitely had a couple puzzles like that in Zelda where I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I've been playing this game for 40 hours. Why? What the hell? This is my last two are kind of short, kind of small, so I'll just do both of them. One is coming off the game, playing a game on the Switch and adjusting your controller scheme. Because if you play on PlayStation or Xbox, basically it's the same layout. The circle or B is in the same position and they both are back.
Yep, that
and the
brilliant.
A is confirm, and then the square or the X is used. They swap. They're interchangeable. But then you get to the Switch, and everything's just clusterfuck.
And you know the right thing, but you just can't do it. Like you're just like you're gonna mess it up 100 times.
I'm not even fighting it anymore because I'm like, dude, I'm almost done with this game. Screw it. I'll just go back to Xbox mode. I don't care. And for me, it's actually Dreamcast mode because that was my first 4-button config console, which is the same as. So it's like really drilled in my head. And so, like you, when it's like, is it 7 p.m.? Is it 2 p.m.? I'm like, am I on the Switch? Am I pressing B? And sometimes the most frustrating thing is when you keep pressing back and you don't think, and you're like, why does it keep going back every time I select my options?
Oh my gosh.
And then I press back, and sometimes it takes me 3 times, and I'm like, livid. And I'm like, oh, dude, you're pressing the wrong fucking button. Luckily, in this case, I'm only playing Zelda. I've learned my lesson. If you're playing on the Switch, I don't play anything else. I don't touch shit.
There was a point when I was actively playing an Xbox game and a Switch game at the same time, and it was impossible.
It's probably so good for your brain. It probably created a bunch of new like neural pathways and like made you live smarter and longer.
Dude, I'm like, I felt younger. Like I felt
like
more
learning
alert.
a second language, dude. You were constantly switching back and forth. And then my last one is just playing a game. Mine are all very Zelda focused. Playing a game without a glider when I had one in a different game.
Oh my gosh.
And I just go splat, dude. Or I'm like, I can't get from A to B. I have to climb down or find a way down. I'm like, put a glider in every game, please. Like, if it's open world, I want to be able to glide. Sorry.
Absolutely. Zelda has spoiled everyone for that. And like you see it in other games now. You're like, oh yeah, I can just do this.
Well, what is the battle royale that you have the parachute you can just open at any time and reopen?
Yeah, that was in Call of Duty.
But that wasn't in the other BRs, was it?
No. Some of them,
yes.
Some of them you're like...
And you jump out of a building thinking you'd pop a parachute really quick and you just fucking
Great
die.
example, because we did this. We were playing PUBG. PUBG, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't just pull it and drop it, pull and drop it. But then we went and played Call of Duty, and you can't. You just like they don't care. There's like freaking you got 40 parachutes on you. It doesn't matter.
Apparently, they're always used backpack.
You've got so many parachutes in that backpack. And then you go to play PUBG and you're like, okay, I'm gonna release it, and you're dead. And your game's over. Like they're not gonna revive you.
Nope.
Like you just have to wait for your friends to die. No, yeah, I think that's a really good one. I had an example for that. But I can't remember what
That happened to me when I switched to there was that one
I remember.
go for it. No, say it.
Shadow of Mordor. I played that. I've talked about this before. And then I decided to try to play what's the one where you're the redheaded chick with the bow?
Horizon Zero Dawn. That was my first thought because I went from Zelda to Horizon, and
you can't
just
jump off
goes
anything.
flat.
Yeah, she
No, you have to slow climb down fucking.
I was like, this
everything.
isn't even a far fall because in Shadow of Mordor, you can just jump off literally anything. There's no fall damage. You just fly. And I was like, she sucks. Aloy is so weak. Like she can't even jump off this giant tower. It's like much more realistic. Like if you jump off a 15-foot tower, like it's not gonna feel good. But
Yeah, no,
she's
you
not a
probably
ghost.
Apply this to any fall damage games, like when you don't know if the game has fall damage or not. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure from Halo 1 to 2 they changed it so Master Chief didn't have any fall damage, but he did in the other one. I mean, that's a hell of a shift. That's a jarring shift. So those are all my jet lags.
My last one is okay because I've got jet lag. We know the fix for jet lag, right? You know how to fix it. You're like, oh yeah, just stay up one night. Just suffer for one night, go to bed at a normal time. You'll be great. You're fixed. It's fixed.
Yeah.
What's impossible, right? A Sunday, I was like, I know what to do. I'm gonna take a short nap, and I took a 5-hour nap, and then I was like, couldn't. That's why I woke up at 2 this morning. So like, the fix. It's very easy. We all know what we need to do. It takes way too long to get there. People will be like, oh, I was jet lagged for a week. This is when in a game. When there needs to be a fix, it's a very simple fix, very easy, and it takes them forever to implement it. Like matchmaking or grouping up in Chivalry 2.
Oh yeah.
It was like a month where it was like, well, it's gonna take us 20 minutes to group up. That's it. That's just what it is. And then they just fixed it one day and it was like perfect. But like, why does it take you so like a key aspect of your game? This should be priority number 1, right? You want people to play together, but they were like,
here's 5 new helmets. I'm like, don't want those.
Like, I don't care about the stupid helmets. I don't even know how to buy them. Like the courtesy system is jacked up. Just I want to play with my friends and like
I'm wearing default outfits on all my characters. I don't care. Just
you want a new map? Okay, here we go.
No,
like,
I just want matchmaking.
Priority number 1, just let me group with my friends. That's it. It's like every game does this. This should be pretty easy by now.
Nope.
So yeah, there's an easy fix to a big issue. We all know everyone knows it needs to be fixed and how to do it, and it takes way too long because.
I don't want to.
That's just.
I don't want to. I'm tired.
I'm tired right now. I just want to like.
No, I'm gonna go sleep, and then I'll do it next time.
Please just let me sleep. I'll stay up late tomorrow. That's where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. Okay, well, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Dice of Destiny.
Dice of Destiny. It's a fun game we play at the end of every episode. You got a 6-sided dice that tells you who's rolling the Dice of Destiny. You got a 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres on it. And then you got a 6-sided dice that's your budget. Last week I rolled a 2D game for $60. So any 2D game basically ever.
Those games are never $60.
No. Unless it's Metroid Fusion or
if it's like
Metroid.
Nintendo, yeah,
anything
then it'll never be under $60.
Oh my god. So I found a game that I already knew about. It's been on my radar. It's a game I've been wanting to play forever and ever, and now I have an excuse to play it. I have to play it. Coromon. It's like a Pokemon. It's like an updated Pokemon ripoff. That's all. That's straight up what it is. It is a Pokemon for the new generation. Turn-based combat, top-down, kind of a Pokemon type of format, type of deal. Coromon, Coromon. I don't even try to be that unique with the name.
No, not at all.
And it looks dope. The reviews. Are you looking at it right now?
Yeah, I am. Very positive. All reviews, 3,500 reviews, very positive. 87% of them are positive.
Dig it.
So,
So easy.
great.
So
Yeah.
easy. I don't know what's it was like 10. Is it on sale right now?
It is on sale for $10. Normally 20, 50% off, $10. Great,
Big money.
great buy.
Yeah, see? Perfect. This is when I found this one. I was like, whew, just choice. I was very happy about
Yeah,
that.
easy pick.
Real easy. You didn't have to dig because sometimes you go down the rabbit hole of 2D games and you're like, oh, well, now I have 5 that I need to play. And they just all got added to my fucking wish list, and that sucks. So I was happy to find Koromon. I was happy to get that off my wish list and get it in my library.
There you go.
We'll play that next week. I'll have a review, I guess. Right? Yeah,
You better.
maybe next week. We'll see.
Not maybe next week. You will have a review next week.
Look at the jet lag boy busting chops over here.
You are the one
You
yawning. You
sound
just
grumpy.
yawned, and I am angry about it. I want to be yawning.
We're gonna get Peterson a warm glass of milk and get him into bed because he is getting grouchy.
No, I gotta edit. I gotta edit this thing right after this. So I need to shoot another Red Bull or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be my
Yeah.
best edit yet.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be no edits.
You're gonna hate
Yeah,
it.
You guys are gonna hate it.
It's raw. It's not even gonna. The audio's not even gonna line up. I don't care.
Oh my god, we're talking over each other the whole time.
Someone will be like, "Hey, I think the audio's not lined up," and I'm just like, "You know what? Go f yourself."
Fix it
That's what I
yourself.
think. You know what? Here's the audio file. You fix it.
You can figure out what we're saying. Just pause it a bunch. All right, that's it.
Just
We're out. We're done. Peterson needs to go to bed.
Oh my gosh! It's the 24th of July. No one's sleeping.
Mm-mm.
It is a
Not-
literal war zone fireworks show out here.
Yeah, dude, it's
So-
like World War I out there.
So
So,
stupid.
and keep it blasting. To play us out, I just wanted to go evil. I don't know. Let's just make it evil.
Yeah.
I got the end game music from Doom 64.
There you go.
I don't know. Sometimes you just want it to be evil.
Sometimes that's just the mood. You know, we start with Creed and we end with Doom 64. So
That's how we do. All
that's how we
right.
do.
I'm JD. Hail Satan.
This is Peterson going AFK. I think I can't remember what we say anymore now. Throw me off.